enclosed spaces where the lumbering menace might strike. The local authorities further urge citizens to refrain from forming mobs, wielding torches and pitchforks, or marching on Castle Frankenstein. We now return to your regular programming, which is already in progress.
Hey everybody, Sandman here with another edition of News of the Strange. I'm not going to waste your time with a lot of introductory stuff tonight. I'm just going to get right into the heart of it, and I want to talk about the death of Lorraine Warren, who died at the age of 92 back on the 18th of April earlier this year. Lorraine Warren was considered by many to be one of the world's foremost paranormal investigators. But was she really? Did she simply jump into fame because of the famous cases that she investigated? Did she really contribute anything at all to the paranormal community, or did she simply just write books about these famous cases? Lorraine Warren and her husband Ed Warren, who died back in 2006, founded the New England Society for Psychic Research all the way back in 1952. They investigated hauntings around the world, and the cases they investigated included the Amityville haunting, which became a sensation during the 1970s and inspired the Amityville horror series of movies. The Conjuring and films related like Annabelle and The Nun were inspired by the couple's career and case files as well. Lorraine claimed to have extrasensory perception, which she used in her paranormal investigations. And she said that this gift gave her the ability to see deeper beauty in people because she was able to read their auras. Together, Ed and Lorraine ran an occult museum which contained artifacts from their various investigations. The oldest and, dare I say, only museum of its kind, the Occult Museum had at one time been open to the public, giving those interested in the paranormal the opportunity to get up close and personal with the various haunted objects that the Warrens had come into contact with throughout their long careers. This included things like the real Annabelle doll. The Warrens were also devout Catholics, and they frequently had a priest come into the museum and perform cleansing rituals to get rid of the negative and spirits that inhabited these items in this museum. And in my opinion, this is where the problem comes in. Maybe they were a little too devout in their religious beliefs, and maybe, just maybe, that made them go to an investigation with a predetermined answer as to what was going on. Now, personally, I think there's a vast difference between someone who properly researches paranormal phenomena and claims and someone who, in their own mind, already knows the answer. For Lorraine Warren, and for her husband Ed as well, that answer was often demons, and the remedy was usually prayer and exorcism. Paranormal researchers must always be mindful of the complexities involved in these cases that they become involved with, and as a result, the people they will interact with. It's easy to overlook how the socioeconomic and sociocultural experiences of eyewitnesses play a role in what it is they experience, how they interpret it, and how this affects their lives. Now, back in 1997, when the Occult Museum was still open to the public, two men from the New England Skeptical Society paid a visit to Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were Stephen Novella and Perry DeAngelis. And they went to the Haunted Museum, or the occult museum, and had a chance to look at Ed and Lorraine's collection of haunted objects. And while they were there, they got to view some of the paranormal evidence presented by Ed and Lorraine. In doing so, they concluded that, and I quote, "The Warrens and their colleagues pay lip service to scientific principles and are concerned about protecting their organization and the beliefs they represent, rather than the scientific search for truth wherever it may lead." Now, it's my opinion that Ed and Lorraine Warren were people whose paranormal research was hindered by their religious beliefs, and this really is a cause for concern as far as my personal concern is. People who think they're possessed or think that there's an evil entity in their house disturbing them can be exhibiting signs of an underlying or even undiagnosed mental or physical health problem. They can be disturbed, scared, or even hysterical. And if you're a serious paranormal investigator, if you're a serious and professional paranormal investigator, you can't just automatically rule this possibility out. You have a duty and an obligation to look into this possibility as thoroughly as you can. This is why people like the Warrens, who tell people they're haunted by demons, could actually be doing far more harm than good. Paying lip service to the scientific principles but putting their beliefs first is how the Warrens were characterized by Novella and DeAngelis, and I think that's probably a pretty accurate description. It's this which is the legacy of Ed and Lorraine Warren. It's also the legacy of many of the paranormal investigators of yesteryear, so cherished by the paranormal investigators of today. These modern ghost hunters whose personal beliefs are too important for them to allow scientific and rational inquiry to get in the way are detrimental to the field of paranormal investigation. Now, I don't want this to seem like I'm doing nothing but bashing Ed and Lorraine Warren. It really does seem that the Warrens had nothing but the absolute best intentions when it came to their paranormal investigatings. But you got to admit they faced heavy criticism for their highly unscientific approach. And that's what it was. It was an unscientific approach. They came into it from a purely religious standpoint, and you can't do that. Now, whether you believe them or not, the Warrens left an indelible impact on the world of paranormal investigation. They influenced countless numbers of people to become paranormal investigators. And perhaps this is what we should remember them for. Perhaps that is what their true legacy should be. Not one of scientific approaches, not one of vast contributions to the world of paranormal investigating, but rather it should be one of inspiring people all over the world to become paranormal investigators. That's what their true legacy should be. And that does it for this episode of News of the Strange. I'll see you again in 2 weeks with another episode. I hope that this video podcast opens up your mind to new ways of thinking, expands your consciousness, and produces a change in the way you see the world. If you wish to change, you must lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe. Good night, everybody, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.